Hello and welcome to Pockenrop. In today's video, we have reached number 5 in my series of ranking all of the tracks on Paul McCartney's solo releases. I've covered from McCartney through to Red Rose Speedway so far, so this means that I'm now on to Band on the Run, released in 1973, comfortably his most commercial success and arguably his greatest release as a solo artist. It brought him a significant degree of critical acclaim back after a difficult couple of years. Before I dive into the ranking, just remember to like the video, subscribe and hit the bell for notifications of future content. And I might as well tell you up front that I like all 9 tracks on here, but to varying degrees. So diving in with what I've placed as my 9th favourite track, it is Let Me Roll It, a song that many people have cited as a bit of a Lennon pastiche. I don't know whether that was in Paul's mind or not. I don't know if it's in his new book, the lyrics, in which case maybe he will reveal whether that is or not a Lennon pastiche. The riff in it is great. It's just become a little bit tired and overplayed for me. He's been playing this live in concert ever since 1975. I'm not sure it's ever really dropped out of his set. Despite me thinking it tired, it's still probably better than almost anything he released in the previous 24 months, with maybe the honourable exception of Live and Let Die. At number 8 in my list, I have placed the track immediately prior to this, which is Mrs. Vanderbilt. This is on a par with Let Me Roll It in terms of how much I like it. I absolutely think the bass work on this is phenomenal. The vocals and guitar combo in the chorus is terrific. And it's just, there are better tracks on Band on the Run. At number 7, it's the track immediately prior to Mrs. Vanderbilt, and that is Bluebird. This song has only really grown in stature for me over the years. I can admit now that the 15-year-old me listening to Band on the Run thought this was a bit boring. It's only as I've grown older, now that I am 47 years old, that I think this is an absolutely lush, beautiful melody. And it's a beautiful piece of playing. There's wonderful Wings harmonies. And for me, Bluebird is the point at which the classic Wings harmonies of Denny, Paul and Linda really start to take the center stage, and it's absolutely beautiful. Bluebird is a really, really beautiful track. At number 6, I have placed the opening track from side 2, Mamounia. Now, I believe this to be the only track from the Band on the Run album that Paul has never played live, and I think that's a shame. Mamoonia's got a really nice tinge to it. It's the only thing perhaps that is really obviously influenced by the fact that they were recording in Lagos in Nigeria. There is an African-ish style to this song. Mamounia has, again, those really beautiful harmonies, great band performance. And for something that's kind of viewed as being one of the lesser tracks on this album, I think Mamounia is unfairly overlooked. Like I say, those harmonies, you can hear what will become the staged singing that happens in silly love songs right here in Mamounia, waiting to be really exposed through the massive single release of that song. Mamounia, number 5. My top 5 from this album on another day could interchange with each other. So for today, at number 5, Jet. And the only reason it's at number 5 is, once again, familiarity breeding contempt. Jet is a phenomenally good rock track. It's a outstanding single. I've known it for years because it was on All the Best. And whilst it wasn't the first McCartney thing I'd ever heard, which was Mull of Kintyre when I was very young, Jet is the first thing that hooked me into McCartney. It had to. It was the first track on All the Best. The lyrics, yep, they're nonsense. They're apparently about a black Labrador. And I thought the Major was a suffragette. They're ridiculous lyrics, but what a performance. It's a genuinely terrific rock track, Jet. I've placed it today at number 5. And number 4 is the co-write with Denny Laine on this record. It is No Words for My Love. Another track that I think is somewhat maligned on this record, mainly because it's Paul and Denny writing. One of the things I particularly love about No Words for My Love is after the verses, for example, after you hear the line that your black eyes are gaze, and you then get that guitar part that builds and leads into the chorus of Your Burning Love. I think No Words for My Love is an absolutely fantastic Wings song. I think it's a fantastic contribution from Denny, both in terms of singing and his writing. In all honesty, this is the first song since The Lovely Linda, right back at the beginning of McCartney, that I think I want more of that. I want to hear more of that song. I wish there was more to it that lasted longer. I love No Words for My Love. Now it's getting really tough to separate the top 3. At number 3, Picasso's Last Words. The song that he famously wrote almost under a challenge from Dustin Hoffman when they were filming Papillon. And yeah, that story's been trotted out, and I'm sure it's in the lyrics book. But this is a finely constructed multi-part work. And I've got to admit, when I was a young teen listening to this album, I didn't get Picasso's Last Words. And I didn't get it on Wings Over America when it segues into Richard Corey. We have a call back to the song Jet and Mrs. Vanderbilt. These are things that he's been doing all his career, making these little callbacks on previous things on the album. You just have to think of Abbey Road, where we get a return to You Never Give Me Your Money in the middle of Carry That Weight. And when he does this, and he does it well, it's sublime. It ties an album together in a way that very few other artists can do. For me, this shows the skill and the craft of Paul McCartney, that he takes that nugget, those words, drink to my health, and builds an entire song around it. And it works. It's just an absolutely sublime track, Picasso's Last Words. At number 2, Band on the Run. One of Paul's very best songs ever, amongst his very best singles, and has been in my top 100 for years. It's another song suite. There are 3 parts to it. It's a genuine triumph. And I can just imagine the other Beatles having heard Red Rose Speedway's mediocrity and Wildlife's paucity of melody and songwriting, and then hearing Band on the Run and thinking, we need to compete again. And it's such a good song. Band on the Run, my number 2. Which leaves me with my favourite track off the whole album, 1985. Even after 30 years of knowing and listening to this song, it just gets better every time I hear it. We've got a pounding bass all the way through it, drums, the relief of the oohs and the vocal section that kind of releases some of the tension. And then you've got this crescendo towards the end with the building of the end piece, which I have to say, it kind of evokes something like I Want You, She's So Heavy off Abbey Road, which is a track I have to admit I'm not that fond of. And it takes that and makes it work for me. And then finally, right at the end, after you've built up and built up and built up, you get the crashing orchestral thing and back into the chorus of Band on the Run to tie the whole album together. So effectively, Band on the Run, despite being my number 2, is present in my number 1 as well. And 1985 is just a brilliant, brilliant song. I did a ranking video about a month ago of every single Paul McCartney single, and you'll remember I put 1985 pretty low down, mainly because it was the Paul McCartney versus Timo Maz remix, and I don't need that in my life. But I do need that closing track of the album, 1985, in my life, because it is phenomenal. So that's my ranking. Let me know in comments below what you thought of it, or indeed what your ranking is. I will be back in a week with a new video, as ever. I will be continuing this series over the next few months. The next one up is, of course, Venus and Mars. But before I go, just remind you to like the video, subscribe, and hit the bell to receive notifications of future content. But until then, thanks for watching.